be starting at 6:03 on the evening of Monday at 6:03 p.m., May 5th. May I have a stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you guys very much. Liz, may I have a roll call now, please?
Yes. Commissioner Moeller.
Yes, here.
Commissioner Kine.
Here.
Commissioner Walde.
Here.
Chairman Standage.
Here.
Commissioner Shanebeck.
Here.
Commissioner Buzin.
Yes, I'm here.
Wonderful. Vice Chair Bori.
Here.
Okay.
All present.
All
Your Honor.
present, thank you. Now, we'll be following a little bit of a new order on things. I have certain things I'll have to say for you guys as we go through this. It's a new, that's the best way I can put it, a new order for
Perfect.
this running the meeting. So our next item is what is called a consent agenda. The commission may at this time take single action on any or all items listed as consent agenda items. Any member of the commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. Do I have a motion to accept this?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes from the April 7th, 2021 regular meeting.
Second.
Okay. Is that okay?
Yep, that's okay.
Okay. And you've got it written down?
And
For
yep,
who gave the motion?
sure did.
And the second?
yep.
Okay, thank you, dear.
And then I'll do the roll call.
Liz, may I have a roll call?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Kine.
Yes.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Chairman Standage.
Yes.
Commissioner Shanebeck.
Yes.
Commissioner Buzin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bori.
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Thank you. That was for the agenda. We need to do a consideration of approval for regular meeting minutes of.
No,
April.
so,
Don't we need to do that?
nope, that was the consent. So you just did
That was-
everything. You'll go down to old business.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right. Our next item, number 5, is old business. Item 21-219, presentation, discussion, and final consideration on proposed changes to the Apache Junction City Code involving parks and recreation fees schedule. I'll be turning this over to Director Liz at this time.
Thank you, Chairman Standage. So just as a quick introduction on this topic, we have discussed this for the last 3 to 4 meetings. The last 2 meetings, you gave quite a bit of direction and advice to Riley King and Jamie Sullivan, who have been leading this topic. So Riley's going to come up and she's going to do a quick rundown of everything. There's not a lot of changes from last time, but we do have just a little bit more information. She's going to be presenting the information to all of you, and then you'll have an opportunity today to take action of whether or not you want to pass this on to council or if there's something else that you would prefer to do. Just as a reminder, so we were tasked by council to bring back our fees. We typically do them about every 5 years. It's been a little over 7 years due to kind of holding off from COVID. So kind of keep that in mind. We have not done these. It is a market study that we have compared with all the other cities. We were asked to consider commercial fees so that our businesses would have the opportunity to be able to rent our facilities and our equipment. And we also discussed taking time to start looking at resident versus non-resident options, because our city is definitely, we need to look at other ways that we can bring in revenue. And our biggest challenge is we'd like to do that without impacting our residents as best as possible. And so those were some of the things that you guys selected. I'm going to turn it over now to Riley King. our management analyst so that she can finish up this item with you. And while Riley's pulling that up, just as a reminder, you have the presentation in your packet, and then for your reference, you have the comparison of the old fees versus the current fees, just to reference if you need to.
Hello, how's it going? So we're gonna go through this. It's not as in-depth as before because you've already got all the information, but please feel free if you have a question to stop and ask so we can get that answered for you. So we started this back in January. Liz introduced it to you guys, gave you our fees, and then we started our market research. And then March 3rd, we came and presented those results. April 7th, we came and did potential changes, and now we're back today to get your vote on it. So based on your feedback from the previous meeting, we are recommending a 50% commercial fee rate and a 25% non-resident rate. So if you refer to the grid that Liz told you about, that has all of the fees in there. I'm not going to go over them like I have in the past, but if you have any questions, please let me know. And we are going to only add the non-resident rate to facility rentals at this time to kind of pilot it and see how it goes from there. And then we are recommending specific fee changes such as increasing the cost in pool rentals, excuse me, to cover the increase in staff wages and maintenance costs. We are recommending the increase in sports court rental fees to be closer to our market average. We are recommending an increase in field preps and personnel fees to get a closer, excuse me, to get us closer to an even cost recovery. And we are also recommending a change to the stage fee to make it a little bit more simpler for if somebody rents the stage, it's not as complicated. Okay. Our next one is our facility entry fees and passes recommendations. So we're making a recommendation to minimally increase pool entry fees and passes to offset the increasing operational costs to run the pool. However, there are still opportunities for fees to be affordable for families. So we do run a 15% discount on our all pool passes through opening weekend. Youth who qualify for scholarship receive 50% off the cost of our passes, and the family passes also qualify for scholarship, discounting the youth on the pass. The rate is also lower to buy a family pass than it would be to buy one youth and one adult. So if you bought, if you were going to buy a youth and an adult, it'd just be cheaper to buy the family pass. And then in 2019, the average family we looked had about 5 people on it, which comes out to $26 a person for the whole summer. Excuse me. And then even with the slight increase in these entry fees and pool passes, we would still be lower than our market cities around us. And then we are not going to recommend any changes to our MGC fees at this time because we feel we are comparable to the market. So our next ones are our rec program and activity fee recommendations. So we would like to update the adult sports fee range to accommodate lower individual leagues, which those are the golf league that we had previously discussed. And then we'd like to update the special event fee range to accommodate vendor fees so we could have vendors at special events. Okay. So that's all of our changes. So what comes next? So tonight you guys will vote on our recommended changes and let us know what you want to do. If changes are made, we'll take this to City Council for discussion and adoption. And if it does get adopted, we think it'll take effect by September 1st of 2021. So, in your packet, you have a motion that you can use to vote or approve the recommended changes as we presented them, or you can vote to approve the recommended changes with modifications, or you can vote to request us to bring back more information to you guys.
Okay. All right. At this time, I'd like to ask each one of you, starting with Judy, and then we'll work around this way through each commissioner, if there's anything you want to discuss on this.
No, I think it's pretty explained really well.
Okay, you don't have anything to discuss?
No.
No changes.
No?
No.
Frank?
I'd just like to thank the staff for listening, really listening and taking advice and considering it and coming back with feedback. It's been a good process.
Okay. Waldy? Walker?
No, yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking. No, I think I'm good.
What's that? Okay, you look at it for a second.
I'm good. I appreciate you guys taking all of our feedback. I feel like this is really cohesive in the final product.
It's keeper.
Heather?
Yeah, we're good.
We're good? So everybody's good. Now, I wasn't here for the last meeting, but everything has looked good to me so far. Question for Liz. How do we bring in, make sure that Gold Canyon and the people that live on the peripheral, just out of the city limits, are they going to be able to participate?
Yes, so as a reminder, we are not changing any, everybody can still participate, and we are not changing any of our fees for our programs or activities. Residents and non-residents will use them the same. But for facility rentals, if somebody is not a resident of the city of Apache Junction, then they'll pay a little bit more, so that we can bring in the revenues that we're going to be needing to offset many of the different things that the city is facing, and be able to have as least impact on our residents as possible and not have to cut back too much on services. So yes, they'll be able to use them. They will have a slight increase in the fee. So for example, if somebody from outside of the city limits wanted to, let's see, a good example, they want to rent a classroom, instead of paying $20 an hour, they're going to pay $25 an hour.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. That satisfies the question I had. Do I have a motion to accept this item as Riley
Yes.
has presented to us?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move that the Park and Recreation Commission recommend to the City Council City Council, hang on a second. Oh, where is that? All right, let me start over. I move that the Parks and Rec Commission accept the free recommendations as submitted by the staff, and we approve those and send that recommendation to the City Council.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. We've got a first and a second, Liz.
Got it?
Okay. Could I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Walde,
Yes.
Chairman Standage,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanebeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Buzen,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bory,
Yes.
Commissioner Mueller,
Yes.
Commissioner Kine.
Yes.
It's unanimous, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on now to new business and presentation. Are you giving the presentation, Liz?
Yes.
Okay, item 21-224, please. Sports field lighting.
So wanted to share with you a little bit about what our lighting is, our situation with all of our lighting in all of our parks. We did have a call to the public at the last meeting, and that gentleman is here. If you will stay for a few minutes at the end so I can get your phone number and we can maybe chat a little further, I would appreciate that. So we had talked about last time that we'd bring back to the table kind of what we have done previously, what are some of the costs associated with lighting, changing out our lighting, and kind of why we're where we're at and where we would like to be here in the future, and then maybe what could be some of our next steps. So here is kind of our map of the city that designates all of our parks throughout the facility, or throughout the community. Musco Lighting, the gentleman that came to the meeting a month ago, they actually came out in 2017. They are a vendor through our Parks and Recreation Association that we are familiar with. Musco actually put in all of the old lighting that is out at pretty much every one of our fields. And so they did an energy and lighting audit for us in 2017. At the time, it was very expensive. We did share that with our Public Works Department as they were looking at several different ways within the city to do an energy audit. Just as the gentleman a month ago said that we can use some of our savings in our energy costs to help pay for some of that stuff. But unfortunately, at the time, the upfront cost is kind of what is the biggest concern for the city. So I'm going to kind of take you through some of the areas that are budgeted here. Once we got that was added into the Public Works energy audit in about 2019. And at that time, we used that to submit for several different grants. The Little League Complex in 2020, we shared with you last summer. We had applied for a grant in 2019. We were originally denied, but they had leftover funding, and so they reached out to us at the end of 2019 and notified us that they were able to do one of our fields at the Little League Complex. They couldn't do both of them. And so the city took the opportunity at that time to pair up their money with some money of ours. We were able to find a little bit of savings that year. And then, as the gentleman had stated, also utilized a little bit of our energy savings as kind of a budget savings option. And we were able to fully change out the LED lighting, the old lighting to LEDs at the Little League Complex, and that's how it is now. So we were very excited about that. To kind of share with you, the fields that we do have, and then I'll let you know sort of the number that is budgeted, I guess is the best way to explain it. And budget is probably the wrong word. It is on a plan to be incorporated into our spending, and I will share with you a little bit of where we're at on that. So Prospector Park, which was the park that we were discussing, that was presented last meeting, that's here, that's number one right here. That is something that we have identified in our energy audit as a $650,000 retrofit project. It's a fourplex softball complex, and then also 2 multi-purpose sports fields. We could probably figure out a way of, looking into the budget of, could we do the complex one year or in a couple year time frame, and then the others the sports fields in another project. Those are some options. In order to get some of the pricing that we've looked at, it is really important to kind of pair a lot of that together. You get most of your savings through their major deployment. The Rodeo Event Center is number 2. That's another one that has really high level lighting. That one is about a little over $110,000. These are numbers based on figures we've looked at over the 2017-2018 timeframe. So they might be a little different. They might be a little bit cheaper now. It just kind of depends on how technology is. All of these prices are utilizing our existing poles, so if there were poles that had to be replaced, that would be an additional cost. The Little League ball fields I already shared with you. That is, just follow the number 9 down here at Broadway and Ironwood. Those are the ones that have now been completed to the type of lighting that was shared at the last meeting. And then Superstition Shadows Park. Here, that's the one that's between the high school and the junior high. Those ball field lights have not been replaced yet. Those are in the $300,000 range for that facility to update it to all LED. Kind of listed here for you a little bit. The highlighted ones are our sports fields. Some of the other areas where we have currently, we are using or changed out to LED technology, so it is in our plan to be able to gradually change some of these things out. I think there's 2 really important reasons. One is the glare and some of the spillage, some of those different things we are definitely looking at, but the energy savings is also a big item. So things that are a little bit more of a reasonable ticket item are some of the other projects that we did where we changed out to LED lighting. The entire MGC building and then the parking lot of the MGC and the library have all been changed out to LED lighting, realizing a huge cost savings this year. We did that project here during the COVID shutdown, changed out all that lighting as we had shared with you. We'll find out whether there's real savings. This is not an easy year to compare to just because we don't have operations quite the same. City Hall parking lots are all LED lighting technology and the shielded lighting. Superstition Shadows Park, the one that we talked about here, while the ballpark and the skate park and the parking lots aren't all traded out yet, we have updated a lot of areas there. So all of the exterior pool lighting, which is also another area that over time, we had gotten questions or complaints on with the lights being on. That neighborhood is right across the street. So those have been traded out over time. And these are a little bit, they're not ball field lights, so they're not quite the same ticket level, but they're things we could kind of tick off a few of them every year. So Super Shadows Aquatic Center, the exterior lighting. Flatiron Community Park, so as we've added parks to our system, I think we've done a really good job of utilizing the better technology as we go. So the old stuff is from our 30-year-old parks, and we just haven't had the means to update all of them. But Flatiron Community Park is all LED lighting and shielded. Our new dog park, as we've discussed, will actually be solar lighting. And so I think that's something that'll be interesting to be able to see how that goes. It's going to be much lower level lighting. It's not the same type of lumens that are required for a sports field. So that kind of gives you an idea of what we've done and what we have on the radar money-wise of what it costs. I can't tell you when they're going to be done other than that some of the small projects are all worked into our, we have some small projects worked into next year's budget. As we discussed, the Superstition Shadows Park, everything except for the ball field lightings are part of a grant that we are working on right now with Arizona State Parks. So the parking lot so we have one parking lot that's done, finishing off the other parking lot and doing the skate park. We are told that we're going to be getting some, possibly getting more stimulus money that will be coming directly to the cities. We don't know those exact amounts and what kinds of strings they have attached, but these are some really good projects that are sitting in a queue. And I guess the bottom line is that it's not that we don't want to do them, it's that we just don't have the funds. So when it's time each budget year to kind of look at all of our needs, our 20-year-old pool facility, the pool deck and the plaster of that was more important, in sort of our prioritization. And so that was about a $500,000 investment over 2 years. Our typical capital budget for Parks and Recreation is generally in the we're lucky if it's in the $300,000 range. We compete with lots of other departments, primarily streets. Those are some of the things that people really have a lot of concern about, and obviously public safety. So our portion of it can be a little bit smaller. We've done, I think, a really good job of looking at other ways of funding it, for example, through the grant with the Diamondbacks, and we'll be doing more of those. The Diamondbacks grant actually was shared with us by Musco Lighting at the time. We had put in a couple of different times and didn't get it. It is actually Musco Lighting that they put in whenever it's time. That's somebody that we have to use whenever you win that grant. I think that's what I have now. I think I would suggest, and certainly want to hear some more of your thoughts, but as far as a next steps for us, I would think that we could probably get with the resident who had the concerns, look and see what some of those are. While we might not be on the radar for immediate having the funds available immediately in the next year or two, there might be some other things. So I personally, in my 5 years, haven't had a complaint come through about the lighting. So I think it'd be a great time to go and investigate a little bit more. I think about 15 years ago, our former park superintendent, Nick Blake, he has record of investigating this a little bit. I believe they tried some, at the time, an interesting shield. He doesn't feel that it made a huge difference, but there might be some technology out there that is good that we can do with our existing lighting that might be a little less costly, while we see where we're going to land in the next year or two with being able to update our sports lighting. And then those will be prioritized based on, where is the biggest issue, where do we get the biggest problems. We do try to keep our Prospector Park lights. We do not have leagues that go, we try to have our leagues done by 10 p.m. And have some of those things are some of the types of things we try to do to be a good, neighbor in the area, but we're certainly open to other ideas and suggestions. The last thing I wanted, I just lost it. Well, I don't know what that is, so maybe I'll think of it as you guys have questions. So any questions that you might have?
You hit the one I was looking at. What time do they usually finish the leagues, which is 10 p.m.? How soon after that do the lights get turned off?
So I would say fairly, so our park closes at 10 p.m. And so usually at about 9:45 or so, park rangers are trying to get people out and all of that kind of stuff. I'm not sure if we even go to 10 right now. Do you think it's 10 or is it 9:30? Okay, so our staff are out of there by 9:30 right now, but the park closes at 10. The sports field lights would most likely, and they're only on the nights that we have games. So, right now that's 2 or 3 nights a week, but it could be more whenever we pick up or whenever there's other time frames. Like I said, though, we do have a stipulation of trying to have them off at a pretty decent time.
Now, isn't that the softball league, or is there also
Yes.
some
So we have our
youth ball game?
Yeah, so we have our softball league on Tuesday nights. That's the only night that we have a league. And then there are Apache Junction Little League. Their softball program has games a couple nights. Well, practices more than that. So, and then they're also out of there by that time. Is that right, Riley, from their schedule? Okay.
Well, through the years from the back of my house, which is on the south side of Old West Highway, before 10 p.m. is when I'll see an aura of that area up there. And after 10 p.m., I don't see it that much, if
Right.
it at all, on. Okay, that's all I had for a comment. Does any other member here have something they want to say on that?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir, Frank.
Couple things. Developmental fees. With all that's being built, are we looking for some increase in that could be channeled this way?
So we do have a great increase in building for development fees, but those can only be used for certain things. So we identified in our IIP, they are to bring, I'm not saying that they couldn't be used at all, but it is a limited amount of money that we get. So we will deplete our development fee fund when we're done with the dog park. Anything that we're gaining right now and probably into fall will go towards the dog park, and then we'll kind of start all over again.
Okay.
There is definitely a great pot of money in our infrastructure improvement plan, which is what regulates how we can use the development fees. We had identified, and council went through a process to identify the types of facilities that development fees could be used for. So right now it's like pickleball courts. The dog park is listed as one of the items. All of our Silly Mountain Park improvements are listed. Sports field is not on there right now. And so it doesn't mean that it couldn't happen in the future. It's just, is that what, again, those are maintenance costs. I do think that there are other ways for us to kind of be looking for those. And we really try to save our development fees for some of those park amenities that our community is lacking.
Okay, the other question I have is with the city trying to become a dark skies city, does this coordinate at all with that effort across departments? How does that work?
Thank you, Commissioner Steinbeck. That's the item that I had left off of my list. So I did talk with our Development Services Director. So we did go through a process while they have been investigating the dark sky, becoming a dark sky designated city and having a dark sky ordinance. There are definitely guidelines. So I'm going to say that sports fields are exempt to some degree. So while there are other areas that fall within the dark sky ordinance, sports fields are exempt from most ordinances and from preventing you from being a dark sky community. However, only if you are doing certain things, such as having, I don't know if 10 p.m. is just what's in one of the latest ordinances that they looked at, or if it's part of the dark sky designation, but 10 p.m. is a factor. You have to have timers on all of your sports field lighting so nobody could leave them on accidentally. And it's either 10 p.m. or an hour after the last program that was, so like if there was a league, they'd have to come off at least an hour, whatever is the latest. So again, we try to be good about it, not let there be things past 10 p.m. if we can help it. I'm not saying there isn't a rare occasion, but that's what the dark sky designation does. And the city is very interested in that. I think we will do, so having said that it's an exemption doesn't mean that we don't think it's important to do, though. It will still stay on our radar, and I think it helps us even more to make sure that that area out there is darker and more of our natural habitat out there.
Thank you.
Liz, I do have another question that came to mind. At the end of like the 10 p.m., is there a ranger or two that go out there to check that everything's okay and the people are gone?
So the park rangers are actually, whenever they close the park, they're actually going through the park and turning off lights. So like they'll do a, hey, last call, we're going to start turning off lights. Or our site supervisor might be the one turning off the lights. But before parks are locked, park rangers are checking restrooms. They make sure that all the lights go off.
Okay. That's just a security issue I had in mind. All right. Is there any other questions?
It's hard to see over here.
Yeah.
No.
I've
Judy?
got one. The housing development that was talked about, where is that on this map?
The housing development for...
That, where the lights were shining?
So again, I'll get with our resident here a little bit later, but I believe that it's kind of in this, can you look on this group? Well, I guess I'm not allowed to ask him questions.
Because that would be
I believe that it's up here in this area.
It would have to be north of McKellips.
Because that's where all the housing is, on
Yes,
that
ma'am.
side.
Yeah, so it's up in this area up in here, according to the address. And again, I think today, if our resident would stay, I can get a little bit more information and
Okay.
we can move from there. But from my understanding of where the address is from the meeting, it's up in this area.
Okay, so about another quarter of a mile or half a mile?
It looks like it's about a mile and a half without, but again, I can definitely confirm that.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Also, what angle, it could be the lights
I-
from the south shining
Yep,
to the north.
I don't have any idea right now, but I think that would be a great next step, is to kind of find out what they're experiencing and look to see what are some mitigation efforts.
I think the
Okay.
confusion was that it was Gold Street or something like that, and
Um,
I didn't know of any Gold Street up in that area.
The address was on Grand,
Oh,
and
Grant.
it is, and by the way, it is in your minutes because they have to share that. But we can get more information, and if this is something you want us to bring back and share, I'm happy to do so.
Do we need a motion to bring it back again?
You would do that during your agenda items. So right now, today, this
Oh.
item is just a discussion and presentation, and so it's
Okay.
just a chance for you to ask questions, and then we'll move on to the next.
Thank you for the reminder.
No worries. It's all,
Our
it's a
next-
completely new agenda, so.
A new format, folks. Our next item is call to the public. We do have a member of the public. Would you like to speak, sir?
So
Okay, one
go ahead and
second.
say your
I've got
thing.
to read a particular statement at this time.
He
Okay?
heard it last time, but read it again.
Arizona open meeting law allows individuals to address commission on any issue within the jurisdiction of the commission. Commission may not answer your questions or discuss your comments at this time. However, at the conclusion of call to the public, commission may do any of the following. 1, respond to criticism made by any individual who addresses the commission. 2, ask staff to review the matter. 3, ask staff to place the item on a future agenda. Commission shall not discuss or take legal action on matters raised at call to the public unless the matters have been properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Please stand and approach the podium microphone. State your name and address after being called to speak. There is a 3-minute time limit per speaker. Well, you're the only one, sir. If you would like to step up and make a statement. Sorry, we're required by law to read that.
Well,
Sure, not a problem. As stated, I was here last month, and I pretty much explained what my situation was in looking out towards the...
I'm sorry, but name and, we have to have it, name and address first.
I'm sorry?
Name and,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
And address.
For the record,
Yeah.
I live at 5330 North Grand Drive, which is northwest of the Prospector Park.
Okay,
So I'm looking down on the park, because the elevation
yeah.
goes up into the Goldfield Mountains. And basically, I came up here today because I just wanted to clarify that. And I wanted to also mention, I had no idea that you were working with a $300,000 budget. That's not, is that correct? But if that is the case, that's not a whole lot of money. So if you're looking to partner with private industry to get some of these projects done, let me suggest one company, and it's H&R Block. And they've reached out to some of the residents in my community, saying that they were looking to participate in some public projects. So for the sake of this meeting, I just wanted to mention that. That's basically all I had to say this evening.
Okay.
But thank you for allowing me to come up here, and
Now, please wait till the end because Liz wants to talk to you.
absolutely.
Okay. Under what I've read, I need to have, don't we need a motion then to have this reviewed for you? Or you're already in the process? Okay, we're done then with call to the public, and we go to information and reports. Okay. The chair at this time may announce information regarding activities involving parks and recreation matters, such as not limited to attendance of the commission members at community meetings or events, seminars, or conferences. This is similar to what the council does when they go around, and if there's anything you want to say about what you've attended in the last month, any event or anything special.
Chairman Standage, could I
Can I
also
go
just,
off?
you did a perfect job. I just wanted to ask if it's okay if I could interject. So again, a little bit of different things on our agenda. I know we don't have a lot going on, so it's fine to pass, but please, this is the time to talk about Parks and Rec stuff. And I just wanted to share that really quickly because it feels a little odd the first time. But no, you did a perfect job explaining. Thank you.
Okay, so I will start over with Vice Chair Judy. Is there anything that you would like to bring up about what Parks and Rec has been doing or you've attended?
I think some of the things we kind of need are some more information out at the, up at the chamber. If we can get some kind of either more flyers, to give out, that type of thing.
Okay, Riley's made a note of that. Okay, is that all you had, Judy?
Yes.
Okay, Luciano,
I have nothing on.
you have nothing? Frank?
There was a council meeting last night where somebody got recognized for 25 years of service to the city.
Oh,
I think maybe we ought to kick that around a little bit tonight and say thank you very much for all your service, Liz.
is that who I think it is?
Yeah, I came on this commission about the same time Liz got Jeff Bell retired and Liz came on board. And it's been remarkable in these 5 years, the challenges a new director has had to face and face successfully. So I'd like to congratulate Liz and thank her for her 25 years of excellent service to the city.
Thank you, Frank.
I
Appreciate
didn't
it.
know that, Liz, but congratulations. I've dealt with you ever since I came on helping Jeff Bell back in '80.
Thank you.
Okay. Walker?
Nothing right now, thank you.
I want to shout out the COVID vaccination event with Embry. It was fantastic. I've got a lot of good feedback on that, as well as the movie nights. Saw some good pictures. I wasn't able to attend, but I've heard a lot of positive feedback about those, so would love to see more of those in the future. I know it's going to get hot soon, so I don't know if it'll
Yeah.
be popular in the summer, but that's definitely a great event when we have great weather.
Heather?
Big fan of the movie events. I didn't attend one, but I did see several friends post the Star Wars one, and that was amazing costumes. I enjoyed that. But then I also like hashtag Rec Connect. Got my mom involved, got my husband involved, got neighbor Joe involved. We got our activity points or minutes. We do enjoy that.
Okay. Judy, you got
Yeah,
something else now?
Yeah, and just one other thing about Mary. She just did a phenomenal job, and hope she's just doing some traveling and getting to do some fun stuff. So,
In her retirement.
yep, thank you, Mary.
Well, Liz, you'll have to grow another arm to help replace her.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Okay, we've done that. Now, item number 9 is staff report, so I'll turn that back over to you, Liz, and if Jamie's going to talk or whoever.
No, so I'm just going to do a very quick update. There's not been a lot of changes. No, yeah, Jamie's here for moral support for all of us. We made her, it's her birthday, actually. So she came,
Hey, happy
just dawned on me, I should have given her something to talk
20,
about.
22, 23?
Yeah, 22 years old. Yeah. So not a whole lot of different things. Park stuff, we are getting ready to add that playground structure that we shared the last time. So hopefully that'll be in before our next meeting. I don't have a lot of park items other than that the dog park is out for bid right now and it closes next Wednesday. So please be thinking happy thoughts for next Wednesday that we get, I just lost my whole train of thought, that we get good bids in because it's definitely a very struggling climate right now. And that's all that I have on parks. On upcoming events and activities, so our summer brochure is out. That is posted online and has gone out. Our pool swim lessons, we already had our non-resident registration for swim lessons so that they kind of had first dibs. And our resident ones are open now as what May 1st. We are opening up the pool this summer. It will be semi-reduced numbers. We are planning on having open swim, our swim lessons, all of those with some mitigation efforts in place that are recommended by the CDC. We are going to be having reduced hours, and I think I shared this last time, or that we might be. We know we are going to be having reduced hours this summer, mainly because of a staffing shortage. So that's the biggest challenge throughout the entire state, is getting enough lifeguards, getting enough recreation staff. We think we've finally gotten a good pool of candidates that have applied for some of our summer rec programs in the Multi-Gen Center to get back fully staffed. Lifeguards, I think that we're probably about, would you say we're at half or maybe, yeah. Yeah, so we're at about 50 to 60% of where we would be. There's only so long that we can wait to get because they really do need to go through our orientations and our trainings and all of that. Our plan is to be open on Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays for open. So we're doing regular Monday through Thursday swim lessons. Swim lessons are still a priority of the department. Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays are going to be our open swim afternoon and evening time frames. And then Friday evenings are going to be family only nights. So we'll have some different event nights. And then it'll be a time when it's, again, a little more reduced, a little bit more conducive to families with small children to be able to come and enjoy it as a family. That will be Friday nights. In addition, if you don't want it, we do have a couple of drive-in movies still coming up, but we are also having dive-in movies throughout the summer. So keep an eye out for that. You don't have to be in fact, can they be in the pool during dive-in movies? Okay, you can be, but you don't have to be. And those do require registration, mainly so that we can kind of keep our numbers down and keep the physical distancing the best that we can. The 4th of July, we are in plans right now for that. So again, if our state and our county stays with the low numbers, well, if our county and our area stays with the low numbers that we've been experiencing, then we will plan on having a 4th of July event that is similar to in the past. It won't have, we're going to probably cut out some things like watermelon, our enclosed inflatables, a lot of things, trying to spread things out, trying to make sure that people can kind of keep that physical distancing if they choose to come on site. They'll still be offered a live streaming so that if people aren't comfortable yet, or if they want to be out in the parking lot, they can still enjoy the activities that way. That's if all goes well. If we have any other kinds of, changes in the health of the community or other orders, we have a Plan B, which is reduced numbers and taking registration, like people would get a ticket to be able to be at the facility so that we can keep people physically distanced. Plan C is what we did last year, which was our drive-in event, and it actually was very popular and really well received last year. But that's kind of our last. We're having fireworks no matter what. That is all that I have to report to all of you, other than to say that if you visit our website, you can always look at our COVID, where are we at this week in COVID, protocols for programs, what is open, what is not open. So please definitely join that if you are interested.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move to the next item, number 10. Call for future agenda items. At this time, park commissioners or park staff are given the opportunity to suggest a topic or topics to be added to the next or subsequent agenda of Parks and Recreation Commission. No discussion of the topics will be taken at this time. Do I have a motion for future agenda items? If you have an item, you got to make that as a motion, and then we have to have a second on that, and then a roll call vote. Do I have anybody who has a suggestion they want to add? That's the new format, folks. So if we...
And just so you know, it doesn't mean that staff can't add something later or that we can't have agenda items that will be added that are needed. But this is your opportunity to ask for things and for the commission to vote.
Do I have any items for future discussion at this time?
Judy over here does.
Judy? Yes, ma'am.
I'm so short. I think I'll make a motion that we have an update on the dog park. What the results are of
Okay.
that.
I'll second.
Frank seconds. Liz, may we have a roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Shanebeck, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Buzin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Bory.
Yes.
Commissioner Moeller.
Yes.
Commissioner Kine.
Yes.
Commissioner Walde.
Yes.
Chairman Standage.
Yes.
Okay, unanimous, Your Honor.
Okay. Don't call me honor, that was my grandfather. Okay. Are there any other motions I'll ask for right now?
No motion.
No? Okay. We'll finish that at this time. Number 11 is selection of meeting dates, times, location, and purpose. We are scheduled for a regular meeting at 6 p.m. on June 2nd, 2021, here in the council chambers. Do I have a motion to select the future meeting date?
I so move.
Okay, that's Frank.
I second.
Okay, Heather, all right, jumps in there.
We'll see if I get yelled at for that motion. You
Okay.
might have to actually do it as a
May I have a
regular
roll-
motion.
Okay,
Sorry.
I move that the Apache Junction Park and Recreation Commission's next regular meeting be at 6 p.m. on June 2nd, 2021 in the City Council chambers.
You're the best.
Okay,
Gotta get out.
And then I second for official.
and yeah, you seconded it.
I was going to sneak in and grab it, but
Grab the glory, right? Okay, we have a first, we have a second. Liz, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes, Chairman Buzin,
Yes.
Vice Chair Bory,
Yes.
Chairman Mueller,
Yes.
Chairman Kine,
Yes.
Chairman Walde,
yes.
Chairman, I just called everybody a chairman, I'm sorry. Oh, actually, you've all been promoted.
You've all been promoted.
The Master Chair, Standage.
Super best
Yes.
chair. There you go.
Okay. It's unanimous, Master Chair.
That.
Now I'm really
Our
going to get in
next
trouble.
item, our last item, is I adjourn this meeting at 6:53. Folks, you're all able to go home now.
Thank